I think I'm finally going to be confident when I double my income. That's when I'll be confident. Does this sound familiar? I'll be confident when? Be confident when something outside of yourself happens to make you confident, to make you feel like you're good enough, like you measure up. Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to wait for that thing. You can be confident right now in this moment if you want to. My name is Dewey, and I'm here to talk about the source of real confidence. And before I do, I think I should share my disclaimer. And it's what I tell every group that I speak with or anyone I coach. I'm no expert. In fact, I consider myself to be the anti-expert. I'm not going to ask you to believe a word I say today. What I am going to ask you to do is lean into what I say. Try it on. Experiment with it. Because only you can decide what's right for you and your life. And the best way to do that is through firsthand experience. So today I ask you to consider what I say, and like Sprite said, keep what you like and throw out the rest. So what is it that keeps us from feeling confident in this moment? I think it's two things. The first is a belief that no matter who we are, what we know, or what we do is not quite good enough. And the second, and I think this is the real fear, the second is if we put ourselves out there before we're ready, we open ourselves up to harsh judgments from people around us. And we humans have a primal need to belong. In early times and even today, our very survival can depend on belonging to the tribe. And I think there's still a part of us that fears being cast out of the tribe. That's why being approved of feels so important, and why putting ourselves out there to be criticized by others can be so darned scary. So where do these negative beliefs about ourselves come from anyway, this feeling that we're not good enough? I used to be deathly afraid to put myself out there in any meaningful way. Sure, I built a successful career in the restaurant business, but that was work, and I could do my work, and I could do it well. But what I couldn't do was share myself with the world. If you worked with me, you knew very little about me. I didn't talk about myself. I didn't talk about my life. I had very shallow, superficial friendships, and I sure didn't have anything that could be considered a close romantic relationship. None of that. I had no idea how to do that. There was a part of me that believed that I didn't belong out in the world with the people. And I was so not confident and so uncomfortable in my skin that all I wanted to do was hide. But since I couldn't hide out completely, I did the next best thing. I drank. And in the beginning, it was wonderful. When I drank, I felt prettier. I felt smarter. I could talk to people without feeling stupid. Boy, they call it liquid courage for a reason. It was awesome. Well, it started out as liquid courage, and a few decades ended up being liquid misery. And in the last days of my drinking, I hated every drink I took. I still remember one day, I opened the fridge, and it was morning, I'm embarrassed to say. Opened the fridge, and I started yelling at the wine bottle and swearing at it, saying, I never want to drink you again. Never. Go away. And then I poured another glass. And that's a special kind of hell. And luckily, some people who loved me from my work staged an intervention, and there began my path to recovery and to personal growth as a whole. And as of now, I've been sober over 11 years, and I'm so grateful. And I drank because I felt like I didn't belong in the world. And through my recovery, and my studies in spiritual psychology, I've come to understand exactly where that came from. My mother was a hoarder. Do you know what that is? A hoarder? The house was full of stuff, full of things. La casa muy llena con cosas. And the kind of place you have to make paths to move from room to room, it was just awful. And I knew I had a big secret to keep. I was so ashamed of my house, I was so ashamed of my mother, and I knew I could never have any friends over because then they would know my secret and hate me forever. And as I got older, this shame took on a life of its own. And instead of the house being shameful, it was me. I was shameful. And what do you do when you feel shameful? You hide. You stay under the radar, and you do your very best not to get noticed. And that's exactly what I did. So where do these beliefs come from? Usually we pick them up in our childhood, from a situation like mine, from a parent, a sibling, from a teacher. Somewhere along the line we hear a message about ourselves and we believe it. So I'm wondering, do you have a core belief that keeps you from feeling confident right now in this moment, from feeling good enough? If so, what is it? What do you think about yourself? Is it one of the common ones like, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve good things, I'm not lovable, I can't share my voice? Is it one of those? And how has having that belief affected your life? What have you missed out on by believing that story? And now imagine, who could you be without that belief? What could you do? What would your life be like? So now you're probably wondering, okay, I have this belief. Can I get rid of it? How can I dissolve this belief and step forward into my life, into real self-acceptance and real self-confidence? I have 2 ideas for you that you can start trying right now. The first, I'd like to teach you a very simple question. 3 words. And this question has the potential to change your life. The next time you don't feel confident, you don't feel good enough, get in touch with what it is about yourself you're telling yourself, and then ask, is it true? I had a belief that I was shameful and needed to hide. Is it true? Well, I've come to realize that what happened in my childhood happened to me. It didn't mean anything about me. So no, for me, it's not true. My story was a myth, but I believed it, and I missed out on so much. So asking yourself, is it true, is the first step. What's the second? Embrace who you are, exactly as you are, and don't compare yourself to anyone else. I was in a park a few weeks ago, and there were a group of male peacocks, pavos reales, around the lake. And if you've ever seen a male peacock, pavo real, it goes something like this. Well, there was a group of ducks, patos, cerca del pavos. And they're going about their duck business. Do you think the ducks waste 1 minute of their duck lives wishing they were peacocks? I'm so ugly. I'm only 3 colors. I shouldn't even exist. No, the ducks go about their duck business, and the peacocks go about their peacock business, each one playing a very unique role in the Earth's ecosystem. You too were designed to play a very special role on this planet. You have your own beauty, gifts, and talents. Spend time celebrating that instead of wishing you're something you're not. So in closing, I just encourage you to have the courage to question your old beliefs. Is it true? Shed them like an old coat and open to the magnificence that you are. And don't compare yourself to anyone else, because guess what? There's no one on earth exactly like you. You can be confident right now in this moment. There's absolutely nothing to wait for. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to speak with you today.